For the first time, the FDA has approved a pill for women dealing with postpartum depression. Clinical trial data shows that the pill eases depression in a few days, faster than other antidepressants. It is expected to be available after a 90-day review. Joining us now to talk about more on this is Dr. Celine Gounder. She's the editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News, and she is a CBS News medical contributor. She's also a physician and epidemiologist at both NYU and Bellevue hospitals. So, Celine, talk to me about what the drug does in the body. How does it work?
So this drug is basically a metabolite, a synthetic hormone derived from progesterone, which is one of the female hormones. And it functions as a brain hormone that regulates how the brain works. We see progesterone and estrogen levels really swing wildly, surging up and then back down when a woman is pregnant and then gives birth. And some women are more sensitive to those hormonal shifts, which is what causes postpartum depression. This pill helps smooth out some of those hormonal shifts.
So this is really fascinating to me. I know often with depression, when it comes to taking medication, the medication does not kick in right away. It could take months to determine whether or not the medication you're on is actually helping you. So I'm fascinated by how rapidly this works. But can you also talk about some of the other considerations when we're talking about a new mom who might be breastfeeding, or, you know, the way sometimes antidepressants sort of dampen your overall mood, your reactions to everything? These are, I presume, all factors that were looked into when the FDA thought, let's give this approval, let's go ahead with this.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, and I think what's most novel here is how quickly this drug kicks in. As you mentioned, you know, most antidepressants, you don't even really see much of an impact until a month in, and then it takes several months before you see the full effect. This is a medication that's only given for 2 weeks and kicks in within a couple days. The impacts are not a slam dunk. They're not going to completely turn you around if you have depression, but they will improve those symptoms to some degree. But I think why this is of concern is because postpartum depression in many women manifests as not being able to bond very well with the baby, feeling like there's something wrong with you, that you're not a good mother, which gets in the way of bonding with your child. You do make a good point, though, which is that this is a medication that has not been looked at in women who are breastfeeding. And we do know that other antidepressants are safe in women who are breastfeeding.
So, Celine, this is a pill that you take once a day for only 2 weeks. This is not just sort of here until they tell you to stop. So it's 2 weeks. What are the side effects?
So the side effects do include sleepiness, which is of concern. You really shouldn't be driving when you're taking a medication like this or operating heavy machinery. So that is something to take into consideration. And there is a warning that if a woman has had suicidal thoughts or actions in the past, that this is probably not a medication for her. For women who have longer standing depression, mental health issues, suicidal thoughts or attempts, they really need to be under longer term treatment and care.
So do we know why the FDA was willing to approve it for postpartum depression versus major depressive disorder? I don't know if it's because postpartum is considered something acute versus a chronic disorder.
Well, it's also that people are so desperate. Women and healthcare providers are so desperate for something. It's kind of like what you see with Alzheimer's as well, where people are just so desperate for something. And while this medication is not a slam dunk, as I said, particularly for major depression, where we have many other treatments available, it's not clear that this is better than any of those treatments. But for women who have postpartum depression, the options are more limited. And this is one that kicks in very quickly, which has its advantages. You know, women may not want to be on a daily pill when they're breastfeeding. As I said, you really probably, given we don't have the safety data, want to be on this pill while you're breastfeeding. But with something that only lasts 2 weeks, you could pump and dump and then resume breastfeeding afterwards.
It's been horrifying and saddening to listen to women who've dealt with postpartum depression tell their stories. And so as I was reading about the side effects, I thought, oh, this seems kind of scary. And then I thought, I bet someone dealing with postpartum depression would be like, yo, you don't understand what's scarier? Actually having postpartum depression. So let's go.
And getting past that crunch point. You know,
Right.
there is stability, but you can't see it when you're in the middle of it. If you could just get something to get
you
you
out
to
of
the
that
other
haze.
side. Yeah.
Celine, final word?
2/3 of pregnancy-related deaths actually occur after a woman gives birth, and mental health is a big driver of that. So this is an important advance, and we need to recognize postpartum depression is real and needs to be treated.
Indeed.
Amen.
Dr. Celine Gounder, thank you so much.